the students. Now, in continuation with endotherms, which you have seen in the earlier session, we will look at ectotherms now. Okay. Now, I have told you what ectotherms are. Okay. Right. Now, I told you that ectotherms are animals that warm their body in the sun. Okay. So, we'll see how the ectotherms do that. Okay. So, ectotherms are animals that warm their bodies by absorbing heat from their surroundings. Okay, so these are animals which absorb the heat. Okay, so endotherms are animals which get the heat from their internal metabolism. Okay, but they are warm-blooded creatures. Okay, but ectotherms, okay, they are, okay, now ectotherms, they absorb the surrounding heat from the environment. From the surroundings, these organisms will absorb the particular heat. Okay, right? So that is why these animals are called as cold-blooded animals. Okay, right? Say for example, your reptiles, your crocodiles, all these are cold-blooded animals. Okay, right? Now, body temperature fluctuates with change in the surrounding temperature. So, because these all organisms are cold-blooded, the body temperature always fluctuates. Okay, that is, which it equates itself to the surrounding temperature because the organism has to survive. Okay, right? So, moving on. So, ectotherms, they are animals that warm their bodies by absorbing heat from their surroundings. Okay, and the second thing is body temperature, it changes with the weather, and they are cold-blooded. Okay, right? Now, moving on. So, how do ectotherms adapt? So, when we are talking about adaptation of ectotherms, so these are all the ectotherms. You have the boas, you have the lizards, oh sorry, I'll say the salamanders, you have the frogs, okay, right? You have the geckos here, okay? So, all these, how do they adapt? These are all cold-blooded creatures, okay, or they are ectotherms. Now, most marine fish and invertebrates, so you know what invertebrates are, they don't have a proper vertebral column, okay, right? However, live in water that that stays the same temperature. So, marine means they are staying in water. Most invertebrates also, they stay in water, and because water does not change in its temperature much, there is not much fluctuation seen in the temperature of the water. So these organisms happily live in that particular environment. Okay. Now, when the weather is warm, they become active. They slow down when the temperature drops. It's as simple as that, because when there is heat in their body, the organisms become very, very active. Okay, but if the temperature of the body is not cooperating, they become very lethargic and they slow down their movements. Okay, right? Then, to warm up, reptiles find sunny places and stretch out maximum exposure. If it gets too warm, lizards alternate between sun and shades. Okay, I'll explain you this point. Then, amphibians warm up by moving into the sun or diving into warm water. They cool off by entering the shade. Simple. Now see, reptiles are there. Now I can categorize crocodile also as a reptile here. I can categorize snake also as a reptile here. Lizard also as a reptile here. Okay. Now, these crocodiles, what do? They, in order to raise their temperatures, okay, they come out, they pick up a sunny spot, okay, that means what? They spread out their body wide, okay, and they select a place which is warm from the bottom also, okay, and they spread out, okay, they spread their body out, and also what they do, they open their mouth wide and sit like this for hours, okay, they sit like this, okay, right? Now what are they doing? They are actually absorbing the heat into their system, okay, they are basically absorbing the heat into their system, okay, and once that heat absorption is maximum, they go back into a shady place or they go back into the water in order to hunt, Okay, generally when these crocodiles hunt, they are very very warm. Okay, the bodies are warm and they are very very active. Okay, right? Now similarly, amphibians, what they do, amphibians are, they both they can live on land as well as they can live in water. Okay, they can breathe in both the areas. Okay, so amphibians warm up by moving in and out of the sun, by diving into the water, and they cool off by in the shade. So generally what they do, amphibians, they once they have to raise their body temperatures, they come out into the sun, and once that is sufficient, body temperature has sufficiently suffice them, they move back into the shade. Okay, so this is how the ectotherms regulate their temperature or maintain their body temperature. Now, okay, so we have completed this chart. Okay, you may make it, note it down. Okay, ectotherms, animals that warm their bodies by absorbing heat from their surroundings. Then how do ectotherms adapt? From the surrounding. Then they are cold-blooded and body temperature changes with weather. Then how do ectotherms adapt? Warm up by moving into the sun or diving into warm water. Then weather is warm, they become active, they slow down when the temperature drop. Okay, then cool off by entering the shade. Say they cool off by entering the shade. That's what I have just given you, told you. Okay, now see here, example of adaptation. Okay, now the shape of an animal's teeth is related to its diet, you know. So whatever animal teeth they have, it is adapted for the diet that they are eating. Okay, now herbivores such as deer have many molars for chewing tough grass and plants. So if you see here, this is a deer's, say, skeleton. This is a skeleton of a deer. Okay, and you can see many molars which are present here. Okay, these are all the molars which are present. Now the main function of a molar is to chew and grind the food properly. So because these organisms are herbivores, they have more molars in their body or in their skeletal system, because of which they are able to grind and chew the food for longer time. Okay, now similarly, if you see this lion here, it is taking a nap and it is yawning, or maybe it is laughing also. Okay, even the lions laugh this way. Okay, right? Now carnivores, now you know that lions are carnivores, they are top predators. Okay, such as lions have sharp canines to kill and tear meat. Obviously, now these are the sharp canines which you see here in the lions, which will help it to tear the food and grasp its food as well. Okay, right? Now next, moving on, who experiences adaptations? Okay, now all species have experienced adaptations and will continue to slowly adapt as the next generations are born. Okay, now crocodile has adapted that way only from millions of years. So all species have experienced adaptations and will continue to slowly adapt. So crocodile has slowly adapted. Okay, as the next generations are born, crocodiles have slowly adapted with generation to generation. It's a slow process. Okay, now we will identify certain species from each of these groups and the reasons for their success. So now, in continuation with who experiences adaptations, we will be looking at certain organisms or species which have adapted well, and how is that they have adapted. So we'll be looking at mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. All right, now coming to mammals. Now mammals, how have they adapted? Now we will see how they have adapted into the particular environment. Now mammals, as you know, they are endothermic, or they are warm-blooded. Okay, mammals are always warm-blooded. Okay, that's why I didn't tell you in the previous slide. I wanted to just tell you under the heading. Okay, right? So endothermic, and or they are warm-blooded. Okay, then all have some type of hair. So all of them, you see here, polar bears are there. This is a zebra. Sorry, this is a giraffe. okay, and this is a lion. So all have hairs, okay. So that is one of the adaptation. Now some are very specialized, such as white polar bear fur. Now fur, as we have seen, this white polar bear has fur in it on its body in order to protect it from the extreme cold temperatures of the Antarctic or Arctic, okay, right. Then methods of locomotion, care for the young, okay, right. So now here one of the adaptations that we have seen is the hair, okay. Then the next one is method of locomotion. So how are they moving from one place to another, and care for the young. So how do they take care of their young ones? Also very important. So they take care of their young ones very with a very vicious, say it's basically a very say motherly love, okay, right. And they're very vicious if somebody comes and breaches in between them and in between the offspring and the mother, okay, right. So these are basically mammals. Now birds. Now leg length. So this adaptations are basically for the leg lengths. Now you can see here they have webbed feet. That means what? They can swim in the water also. And these birds will have feet which are, so see, I'll just read out. I mean, anyways, I have written it, so I'll read it out and you'll understand. Okay, rosette spoonbill. Okay, rosette spoonbill. Okay, top right. So top right, that one, rosette spoonbill. Okay, now the length of the leg is very big. Okay, right. Then you have foot webbing. So I showed you this foot webbing. Okay, that is a laughing gull, which is top left. Okay, you have foot webbing. Okay, then you have beak shape. So this is the beak shape. It is long. Okay, right. So long billed crill. Okay, that is at the bottom. So these are some of the adaptations that the birds have made in order to sustain themselves, in order to hunt, in order to survive, okay, in order to continue their species. So these are some of the adaptations that they have been made. Okay, now if you see reptiles. Now reptiles, they are ectothermic, or they are cold-blooded. Okay, so these organisms will have scales on their body. Okay, so you can see here snakes have scale. This has a ectoskeleton. This is a ectoskeleton. That means a shell is on the top. Okay, right. Then they have scales. Some undergo hibernation and estivation. So these are the organisms which undergo hibernation and estivation. Okay, and then they lay eggs on the land. So turtles are there, snakes are there. This is a monitor lizard. Okay, so these lay eggs on the land, and leg structure and position is also very different. For this doesn't have leg anyways, so these two leg structures and positions are also very different. Okay, right. So moving on, amphibians. Now when we talk about amphibians, they are also ectothermic in nature. They are also ectothermic in nature. Then they lay eggs in the water. Okay, they lay eggs in the water and partially or fully webbed feet. So depending upon the adaptations that they have, their feet can be partial or fully webbed. Okay, then have lungs or can absorb oxygen through their skin as well. So that's why they are called as amphibians. They can survive both on land and also on water. Why? Because they can absorb oxygen through their skin and also they have lungs. Okay, so it's a dual adaptation. Then animal defense. Okay, so we'll look at this topic. Before we do that, I would just like to go back and just tell who experiences adaptation. So these are the organisms which have experienced adaptations, and because they have all these characteristics, okay, because they have all these characteristics, they were able to survive and they were able to adapt properly to the changing external environment. Okay, right. Now animal defense. Now what is defense? The protection. Okay, protection against predators. Okay, now what are these? some animals use these methods of defense to protect themselves. So we'll see camouflage. So you can see the snake here. Okay, can you see the snake here? Okay, now this is a rattlesnake, which which is a which is actually camouflaged itself under the leaves. Okay, right? It has a triangular shaped head. Okay, so this is the snake. Okay, right? It has a triangle shaped head. Okay, right? Now that is basically the camouflage. It's a perfect camouflage. You cannot see it until you feel it. That is, if it bites you, if you go close to it. Okay, right? So this mechanism is used by the snake to capture its prey, like rodents or any other prey of its which fits in its mouth, because snakes swallow their food whole. Okay, then mimicry. Okay, now Mexican milk snake. Okay, so they perform mimicry. Okay, right? See, these are the mimic snakes. That is milk snake, Mexican milk snake. They perform mimicry as to the surrounding environment. Okay, then bright colors, skunk and poison arrow frog. So see, I told you, I think, about the skunk here. Okay, it releases some liquid from its back, which is very, very pungent, and also these frogs. Now these frogs are considered to be the most poisonous frogs in the world, which are the arrow frogs. They look like an arrow. They're very, very small, but they release some poison which is very, very toxic from their skin. Okay, and these frogs can kill an adult human being in another, say, 15-20 minutes. That's it. Okay, that poison, when I say kill, the frog can kill, it means the poison of the frog can kill a human in, say, 20 minutes max. Okay, if the medical attention is not given. Okay, then hair projections like you see here. These are the hedgehogs. Okay, these are the hair projections which will prevent them from becoming a prey. Okay, so the predator has to come and grab it somewhere. So these hairs are very, very pointed and very, very say hurting when the predator comes and tries to eat them. Okay, then you have the deer antlers. You know what antlers are? These are the antlers on the deer. They use it to defend themselves from the predators. Okay, so that is basically animal defense. Now, adaptation applications. Okay, now we'll see about lions. Now lions, why are the eyes of a lion set in the front of the head rather than on the side? So the head of the lion is, the eyes of the lions are set in front. Okay, now why is that adaptation been adapted by a lion, which is what we'll answer here. Eyes in front of the head allow for depth perception and ability to judge distance when hunting. So when the eyes are in the front, okay, they allow for depth perception. That means what? What is the distance of the prey from the predator? This is the predator, top predator, and if it is hunting something, it will judge it because the eyes are in the front. Even we can judge when something is coming in front of us. We can judge at what distance it is coming from. Okay, right? So the lions have the eyes in front of their skull. Okay. Then you have adapted in lions. What is the purpose of the mane on a male lion? Mane on a male lion. What is the reason for the lion's color? Okay, what is the reason for the lion's color? Okay, now this is basically the mane. Okay, this is basically the mane of the lion. Okay, now the thick mane helps the male to appear large and serve as protection for the throat. Okay, now though it is a top predator, even this lion can be hunted when it becomes old, when it is not able to hunt for itself. Okay, so this mane, what does it do? Okay, it actually helps the lion to look more ferocious and more aggressive. Okay, it gives that large bulky look to the lion. Okay, so that is the purpose of the mane. Okay, so and the and one more thing I forgot to tell you, it doesn't expose the throat of the lion, which is the most vulnerable part in the lion, the throat. Okay, because it has a vein which is called as a jugular vein. For every organism will have it, even the lion will have it. So most of the organisms try to attack the jugular vein because they suffocate it. Okay, right? Next, the tawny brown coat color camouflages the animal and and young among the vegetation. So if you see here, you have grass like this. Okay, you have grasses like this. Okay, in more detail I'll show you. Okay, so you can see the grasses here, and also you can see the grasses here. They are very, very dry. Okay, now when the grasses are tall, it allows the lion to camouflage itself. Okay, it allows the lion to camouflage itself very, very properly, and they blend very, very properly and very, very nicely in that particular grass. Okay, and it also allows the lion to protect its young also, because the young will not be visible in that thick grass, and that is a strategy that the lioness uses to hunt. Okay, so please understand, the male lion very, very rarely it hunts. The female lion actually hunts and feeds the male lion and also its offsprings. Okay, so the male lion is very, very lazy. All right, now giraffe. You know what the giraffe is? It's a very big animal. Okay, now why are giraffes able to go for a longer period of time without water? That's the question. That's the application that we are going to learn. Now the answer is, giraffes drink water when available, but can go weeks without it. They rely on morning dew and water content of their food. Okay, so why do the giraffes don't drink water regularly? Because they have a beautiful ability to convert the moisture in the air into water and consume it in their body and regulate that water in their body. And also the water content in the food, so whatever grasses they eat, that grasses will definitely contain water in them. Okay, now that water is also being used to conserve inside the body of the giraffe. So once it drinks, it stays put for weeks without water. Next one more application. How are their long necks adapt to their lifestyles? You know that giraffes have a very long neck. Okay, right? But these long necks which are there, okay, they are only made up of 7 bones which are interconnected to each other. Okay, right? Now answer is, this extra length is thought to have evolved to help the giraffe to spot predators and other giraffes in a distance. Okay, so if the head of the neck of the giraffe is long, it can actually spot the predators from the top itself, from where they are coming. They can keep a eye like a watch tower. Okay, so these necks help the giraffe to like a watchtower. They observe where are the predators actually coming from. Okay, and interestingly, giraffes and humans have the same number of vertebrae in the neck. So whatever vertebrae we have here, there is 7 vertebrae, the same thing the giraffe also will have. Okay, then zebras. Now zebras, how do they adapt? How do zebras defend themselves? They are capable of running up to 40 miles per hour. That is approximately coming to around 80 kilometers per hour. Zebras defend themselves by kicking and biting. Okay, so they kick with their hind legs. These are the legs which the zebras used to kick, and also, you know, they have teeth which they bite through. Okay, now coloration also plays a role in evading predators, although theories have not reached an agreement. So see, coloration can play an important role in the case of giraffes, but that has not been proved yet. Okay, right? So these are some of the applications that the lions, the giraffes, okay, and the zebras. I'm sorry, this is a zebra. I'm so sorry, it's a zebra. Okay, I think I told giraffes here. So it's a zebra. Okay, right? Now, So we have seen various applications here. Okay, right? So thank you so much for listening to this lecture, and I hope that you have understood this animal adaptations in which I have given in detail. Okay, so I hope to see you soon in the next session. Thank you so much.